Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance had four screenwriters, and one of them was the eventual director. Oldboy had three, and one was the eventual director. Obviously, Mr. Park Chan-wook here. I point this out because I was initially assuming that some of this film's screenplays, extremities, and attempts at balance feel like a considered discussion between multiple writers. Maybe Oldboy was a similar instance, but they had better material and ideas in general, plus Park Chan-wook's experience with Mr. Vengeance. Chan-wook is the only screenwriter in common between the two films, refining the finished work. I do like the script for Mr. Vengeance, although, and this is something I wasn't entirely aware of, this is not an overly well received film. Among the internet film fan world, Mr. Vengeance was appreciated similarly, but not to the same extent of Oldboy, but checking the critical response via the Wikipedia, most critics were not happy with this, seemingly considering it nihilistic, too edgy, irresponsible, and needlessly graphic. I find the idea that these films significantly impact the culture naive. No one has heard of this film, generally speaking, among the wider population. The people you meet at some Korean film festival, all knowing it is one thing, but this is what percentage of the population? I mean, I'm speaking of the English-speaking world, maybe it is more well-known in South Korea itself. Still, I find it a bit prudish when too many critics disdain films of this sort. Well, it's easy for films like this to go too far. Why Funny Games was fine but this was decadent is a very bad joke, let's face it. Although I note a sense of refinement and seriousness with Mr. Vengeance, which wanted to imagine the most vile scenario of unromantic revenge. Is this not more welcome than the glorifying action of something like Winner's Death Wish? I don't think the devotees of this picture are celebrating the violence. Maybe they see it as some perverse, edgy Larry Clark fan-esque cred, although I think some individuals with rougher lives enjoy or appreciate films that really go there, which do not espouse sentimentality, fantasias, or over-romanticization of human conflict. I don't think this is as strong as Oldboy, although I remember being very impressed with the film at 19 years of age, and I still find it very compelling now. It is assertively filmic and narratively bold, and honestly, I like that it bothered those critics. Preference is one thing. I don't condemn this. But the vapid insistence that films like this are inappropriate, critics sounding like a bunch of crypto-fascist sympathizing primary school teachers, I don't really care for it. Obviously, again, not for everyone, but I think a published critic would sooner have to try and assess everything via their metric. I will only be so condemnatory of films which do not fit my own preferences, for instance. Dismissing entire modes of filmmaking on an existential level because they don't want any in their home, or permitted in anyone else's either, apparently. No, not a perfect film, but I consider it very strong. I'm surprised to see it as such a scornful response from these published critics. Weird How Lee's Naked was fun, Man Bites Dog was fun. A lot of people probably condemned that one, to be totally fair. Funny Games was just fine. The Piano was just fine. But this goes too far. Because it isn't European? I'm not going to go there, but Korean media wasn't as chic fan as it is now. These guys like garbage like Castaway on the Moon. Actually, I may be a hypocrite and dismiss individuals who like that film. Yeah, you're just wrong. I've jeopardized past relationships by hating on that film. But that was a very good thing, so I could end up where I am right now. But yeah, I like that it bothered certain commentators. Oh my god, this is not appropriate. Who thinks like that? If you don't like it, don't watch it. People who don't want to see this won't see it. It doesn't cause more people to be violent than people so want to believe. Better that a film will portray vengeance for what it is, wicked and inhuman, and unromantic. Don't you think film audiences could maybe benefit from this, potentially? Yeah, I will endorse this here. Now, onward.